I'm Chase, and I'm here at day one of LA Times Festival of Books at the USC campus, and I'm here right now with Elizabeth Eulberg. So this is your second time here.
It's actually my fourth.
Oh, it's your fourth.
I know, fourth.
Oh.
Crazy.
Well, I know for readers and fans of books, you know, what we get out of this. We get to meet our favorite authors. But as an author, what do you get out of like festivals like this, and what keeps you coming back?
I love this is my favorite festival. I know I might get trouble with other festivals, but I love the LA Times Book Festival. First of all, it's gorgeous weather, but for like writers, we spend a lot of time alone. Like writing with a computer, and so a lot of times we don't get to see the people we're writing for. So this is one of those instances where you can interact with them, and I also get to be on panels with authors that I admire, and I learn every time I'm on a panel with other authors. I always learn something, and then I have a lot of author friends now, so I get to see them in the green room and like in passing, and it's just a lot of fun.
Have you ever fangirled over an author?
Oh my gosh, all the time. It's funny because a lot of the YA authors now are really good friends of mine, and so that's always fun. But there have been a few instances, like Judy Blume was like I had her sign a book of mine. I was like, thank you, and then I walked away and said like saw to Elizabeth love Judy Blume. I was like freaking out. It was embarrassing for both of us, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, your book's Lonely Hearts Club and We Can Work It Out. The Beatles play a pretty big part of it, and I know as a huge Beatles fan myself, I was really excited, and that's what kind of drew me in. And I remember I discovered the Beatles because my parents, and like that's what they listened to. And I remember the first Beatles album I ever owned was the Yellow Submarine soundtrack, and I listened to it all the time. So for you, how did you discover the Beatles, and like what was the first Beatles album you owned?
You know, it's funny because I feel like the Beatles were always a part of my life in some way. I mean, they're just everywhere. I do remember the first Beatles song I ever learned was second grade, and orchestra in like our music class. Mrs. Beckstead, our music teacher, had to sing Obla Dee Obla Da. So that was like I remember singing, and then it's like I had a Beatles clarinet book, and then I had a piano book of Beatles songs, but I didn't have like any of their albums for a really long time. But then they had, when I was in high school, they had this big anthology come out of all of their work, and it had outtakes, and so that was the actual first album I ever got was the Beatles anthology, the first one, and then I got all the anthologies, and now I have all the albums. And my brother used to joke like, because every Christmas I would ask for like a couple, and then he was like, when I finally got them all, he's like, well, what am I going to get you now for Christmas? You have every Beatles album now. Like, if I'm not buying you a Beatles album, like I don't. He got really excited when Cirque du Soleil had The Love, because I was like, oh, here's it, and I had my brother give me that because you know.
Did you go see that?
I did. I was in Vegas 2 years ago and saw it.
Oh, I wanted to see that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, your heroine in those books, Penny Lane Bloom, is named after a Beatles song. So if you could name yourself after a Beatles song, which one would you
Oh my gosh. Well, I do like Penny Lane. I mean, that's kind of why I had her, the main character, be Penny Lane, because I just think, like, Penny's a cool name, but to be Penny Lane is even, like, more amazing and awesome. Yeah, Penny Lane.
Yeah. Well, your second book was Pride and Prejudice, which is an adaptation of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. What were the challenges for you for adapting like such a classic novel?
Yeah, it wasn't until right before the book came out, that I was like, what was I doing? What was I thinking of like taking one of the most beloved novels of all time and doing an adaptation? But while I was doing it, that book was written over 200 years ago, and the biggest challenge was making it relevant today, because back in 1812 when the book came out, it was everything had to do with like getting married, and money was a huge thing in class and society. So I had to translate something along those lines, which was like prom date instead of needing a husband. It was in want of a prom date, but I had to put my Lizzie Bennet in a situation where going to prom was a really big deal, and that's why I had her at this like prestigious boarding school where prom isn't just prom. It's it's basically like at the Oscars of boarding school, where it's like everybody's wearing Oscar de la Renta, and it's just this thing, and it's featured in all these magazines and spread. Like I needed that to be a big deal, and the reason why I have her at a really expensive boarding school is because I need money to be an obstacle. Because I mean, in high school, you kind of like rich poor kind of makes somewhat of a big deal, but I needed to put her in a situation very similar to the early 1800s, where like class really mattered, and she was a have-not amongst a lot of haves.
All right. Well, you wrote your first book when you were a part-time writer, and now you are a full-time writer. Has your writing process changed since becoming a full-time writer, or is it the same?
It's the same. I get to write during the week now, and I can not write during the weekends if I choose to. But when I was still working full-time, I could only write on the weekends. Really, it was very hard for me to work all day and then write at night. I know some people do it, but I reserve my weekends all for writing. So now I write Monday through Friday, and I can write usually less words and get the same amount. I used to have to write 5,000 words on Saturday, 5,000 words on Sunday. So now if I just do 2,000 Monday through Friday, I get the same done.
And what writers would you say have influenced your writing the most?
Oh gosh, well Jane Austen obviously, like she influenced how I wrote a book more than anything. But I'm very spoiled because a lot of the contemporary authors that I admire, I'm like friends with now. I love Stephanie Perkins writes such great books, and Sarah Milanowski and Jennifer E. Smith, who I'm good friends with, and Jenny Han. So I get really excited when I have friends that have new books out, because I just like, it's really, and a lot of times we're writing next to each other, and to see everybody's process and to see their books, I get really excited when Nova Ramaswamy just had a book come out called The Walls All Around Us. Well, no, The Walls Around Us, and it was just an amazing book, and I just was so proud of her. It's amazing, and it just was like, you read that and you're just taken to another place, and she's such a gorgeous writer. And so I'm always inspired, and my author friends inspire me to be a better writer.
So how much, if any at all, do you put of yourself into your characters?
I think my first book, a lot of Penny's struggle with boys were very close to my own, and Tracy, her best friend, her sarcastic dry side is very much me. But certain characters more than others, like McCallum in Better Off Friends, is very much me in terms of someone who does not allow people to be bullied and stands up for others. I'm very much like that. It's weird. If someone kind of bullies me, I don't say anything, but like, oh my gosh, someone with you, I'll be like, no, you did not. Yeah, but so her kind of inner strength is something that I think for me, she's a little bit stronger than I am, but there's a little bit, the Lexi in Revenge of the Girl with a Great Personality. Many a times I've had a guy be like, you're so funny, you have such a great personality. I'm like, what? I'm working over here, that's all you have to say to me. So yeah, so I have bits and pieces of all of them.
And what literary characters, whether it's your own or someone else's, would you want to spend a day with?
That's hard. I think the easiest answer for me is PETA from the Hunger Games, because he's very loyal and he can make me bread and decorate a cake. So it's just more like he'd be really cool and sweet to hang out with, and then he would give me food. That's like the perfect relationship.
Well, music plays a big part in a lot of your books. What are some of your favorite artists right now?
No, music artists. I have a really good friend who lives in LA, and I just made her a mix. And so my new favorite bands, two of my favorite albums Taylor Swift's 1989 was my favorite album last year. But the close ones that I have, there's a band called The Colorists, and they're awesome. They're just fun. I've seen them live twice. Magic Man is also a band who they're really fun. And I also like Churches, and I'm kind of have gone into more of a liking very upbeat, peppy music, although I just got the new Sufjan Stevens, which is very gorgeous and melodic, and Death Cab, so.
Well, I've heard that you're a big karaoke fan.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a go-to karaoke
Yeah, my
song?
go-to jam is Hit Me With Your Best Shot with Pat Benatar. Yeah. That's my go-to if I want to, but I have a bunch. I actually have on my phone, I have a list of 40 songs. I do, because if I hear a song, I'm like, ooh, that'd be really good. I know I'm not going to remember it, so yeah, I just did karaoke on Monday. It was a lot of the 80s songs that I did. I did this song you probably don't know. There's a song from Billy Ocean called Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car. It's amazing. The 80s had such great music. I was very proud of it. I'm very proud of it.
Now, this is a very difficult question.
Oh gosh, so here we go.
Take your time answering. John, George, Paul,
All right.
I said it was a difficult question.
Okay, it is. Okay. Sir Paul, however, with the caveat that George Harrison is one of the most underrated geniuses ever of all time. So I have a very, very soft spot for George. So it's I almost want to say George, but like, you know, Sir Paul is still like rocking it, and I've seen him in concert 4 times now, and like I get very like, you know, with him, yeah. So Paul with a little asterisk for George. What about you?
George.
Yeah, George is like,
yeah.
you know, so 2 of my favorite Beatles songs are "Here Comes the Sun" and "Something," and he wrote those, and he once said, regarding songwriting, like he's one of the greatest songwriters of all time, but he was competing against the 2 greatest songwriters ever, so it was like, poor guy.
Yeah, I have to say mine is probably Old Brown Shoe.
Oh,
I love
nice.
that.
You're like old,
I was
like
listening to it in the car on the way here.
Nice.
I was listening to the Beatles. And so, did you ever read Patty Boyd's memoir?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm sure it is.
It's like I want to go back and I want to be in 1960s London.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no.
That would just be the time place I want to live in.
Oh yeah, no. And it's funny because my mom wasn't really into the, like, she was, but not like crazy, because back in those days, she was in college, I think, and she was like, no, in college you listen to classical music. I'm like, I really don't think everybody did, Mom, in the Beatles, but yes, but she still, we listen, like, we sing along to Beatles songs, but she's like not like Penny's parents.
So Penny's,
Yeah, Penny's parents
are
are
not Penny's parents.
No, figment of my imagination.
Yeah. So what are you working on right now?
So right now, well, I am working on a YA book, but just at the start of it, so it won't come out. It's going to be weird. Next year, 2016, I will not have a YA book, which is weird, but I am launching in the fall a new middle grade series called The Great Shelby Holmes. So it's a reimagining of Sherlock Holmes, and in my universe, it's Shelby, and she is a 9-year-old prickly girl who lives in Harlem, and John Watson just moved into her building. So yeah, they're very, and he's 11, and they're very fun. It's been a lot of fun writing. So I'm finishing the first book now, and that'll come out next fall.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.